All right, so let's talk about those check all that apply items because these might become the bane of your existence. What happens when we get these back is it will either be a list of the words of everything that was chosen or more than likely the categories of everything that was chosen. And so right now I can't do anything with this category. When we get into statistical analysis and when we're trying to even say how many twos were there, it's extremely hard. I can't do a sum score. I can't do a find. I can't do anything, especially when I have commas in here. It's not a straight numeric representation. So I'm going to create new columns. So you can see question five, answer category 1, category 2, category 3. This one has a lot of categories. There's 11 different choices that they could have responded to here. And I need to say, okay, did they respond with a 1? Did they respond with a 2? Did they respond with a 3? They could have checked all 11 categories. And if we want to see what this is, I can go back to my code book and say question 5, what was the terminal degree? And then I went ahead and added all of my choices. So these were my 11 choices. I do have some actual text here. So if they were a doctorate, they get to specify. If it was an other, they got to specify. Nobody chose a master's and needed to specify. We didn't actually do that one. So I can see that 2 is a speech language pathologist certification. I want to see how many of them checked that they have this certification, how many have this certification, how many also have this. So there's a couple ways to do this. You can create all of your new columns. Easiest way to do that is to just highlight columns and insert. I've already created those for us here. And so for item 1, I'm just going to scroll down and I can be like, does this response have a 1? Yes or no? So in this case, 0, 0, 1. Yes. There's a 1 chosen here. There's a 1 chosen here. So I have a 1. There's no 1 here. There is, oh, that's awful. There's no 1s here. There is a 1 here, and so forth and so on. So we're going to need to verify the 1s to make sure that 11s weren't being picked up as a 1. But that's a different story. And then I can go over here to 2. So this was a 1, this was a 1, this is a 0, 0, 0. And I can hand do all of that. If I don't want to do it by hand, we can use a formula. You will have access to this spreadsheet in Canvas if you want to actually just copy this. But here's what we're doing. We're saying if this cell is a number, and specifically, so it's going to search the cell A2 for a 1, because this is category 1. If it finds a 1, it's going to put a 1 for true. It's going to put a 0 for false. So if there is a 1 in category 2, it's going to put a 1. If there is not a 1 in this, in this A row, in this cell, it's going to put a 0. And we see that same thing here. So here it's the exact same thing, except now we're searching for a 2 instead of a 1 in that cell. Here we're searching for a 3 in that cell. Here we're searching for a 4. With me so far? Don't do that. Okay, so you can go into this Excel document and just copy this and then change things up. So you need to verify, first of all, that this is the right cell reference. And please note the $sign so that I can copy it to different cells and not have it just move the reference cell back and forth. So again, if we scroll down, so if you look up here, as we scroll down, it's A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, and all the way down, referencing except for the ones I just changed. There is a little box at the corner of this cell. Do you see the little box, the little green box? And when I get close to the box, my cursor changes. If I double click that, it's going to copy that formula all the way down for me, so I don't have to change it. And it's going to reference the proper cell. So I just have to type this in and reference it once. I can also do the same thing and drag them over here, but then I have to change them. So I can drag it over to here, and right now it's referencing for a 1. I'm just going to change that to be a 2. So it's looking for category 2. For this, when I dragged it over, it's copying the 1. I'm going to change that to a category 3. Again, I'm going to change to a category 4 so that all of my categories change. So again, if we look up here, I'm referencing, do we find a category 1 choice, a category 2 choice, a category 3 choice? And as I scroll over, there's the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I can do my first row with everybody, and then I can click on each cell and just copy it down. So I'm just double clicking this guy right here. You can also actually physically drag them down to copy the thing all the way down. And that way you don't have to do all of this by hand. It gives you a little bit more freedom to get all the way through. Once I have this done, now I can say how many people chose category 1. So how many people have an early childhood special education license? And I can do descriptives on this. So I could do a sum of all of these, and I can say, oh, hey, look, 22 people have that license. I can also copy that same formula all the way through, and I can see that most people have this license. Nobody had a 4 or a 6. So I can say nobody was a speech pathologist assistant or an occupational therapy assistant in this data set. It's a pain, it's extra, but I promise you this is actually the easier way to do it than to go through by hand and say, okay, 111, 211, 311, 4, 5, 6. And especially if you want to use this for any inferential statistics later to see if responses differ by people who have this degree or not, by people who have this degree or not. Does that actually change their responses in something else? So it's worth it.